So I was doing like anywhere from 20K to like 40K in sales, but it was largely dependent on festivals. It was very sleepy. I mean, I think 1 month I did like 7K in sales. It was really low. And like this month, we're on track to do like 135K in sales. It's been like a night and day. I mean, it's basically the difference between like a fun little business and then something that I'm able to pay myself more than I've ever made at any job ever in my entire life, and like own my time at the same time, which was ultimately the goal, was not to be like a millionaire. Was the goal was to own my time and have like the most passive form of income possible, so that I can like do other things. So I launched Lions Leather Co., my company, in May of 2021. We make small batch, handcrafted, like really minimalist leather goods. I had an idea in 2010 at a concert when I had a big, stupid, heavy purse and I wanted to dance and I couldn't dance, and because of this bag. And so I went home and I basically sketched out for like 9 years. And then 2019 broke and I decided to prototype it. I'm not a leather worker by trade, but basically like I designed this convertible pouch that I patented the snap strap. Actually, I have one right here. Conveniently, that was not part of the plan, actually.
Sure.
This is a snap strap, and by unsnapping the pouch, you can wear it like 3 different ways, and it's super simple. And then I use these like really pretty linings. So it's a really simple, like minimalist, lightweight thing. And you can wear it as a waist pack or a crossbody or a shoulder bag, but it's like the one bag you can wear everywhere. Online sales were not the majority of my sales in general. I was doing the festival gig. So I was doing like festivals throughout Colorado, which was fun and super exhausting. Like lots of like 14-hour days. And I would do really well. Like some days or some weekends I would make like 30K in sales, but it was so much work. And I was like, this is not sustainable. I'd rather be home making those sales and not in the sun for 14 hours talking to thousands of people. And so I was getting comfortable with my production team, trying to figure out, okay, how many of these do I order at a time? How many can I sell? I don't want to have just a bunch of inventory laying around. Figuring out cash flow, figuring out budgeting, because I was working full time until May of last year, and then was doing like contractor gigs to keep things going just in case. And so I was trying to get a grasp on the viability of it all before I invested with an agency or with a team like yours, and eventually did ads. And so it was a foundation building time. And I also was intimidated by it. I know that how meta accounts work. And I know that if you mess it up, you kind of get one try. And like, if you mess it up, like, and they deactivate your account, it's a huge deal. And it's really hard to undo that. And I also knew it wasn't one of those things you just like Google. Like I knew enough to know that like there was a science to it and I didn't know the science. And there would be a point where I needed to pay someone to understand the science, but I didn't want to like trial and error it myself, just throw cash around. So I had kind of weeded out traditional like marketing agencies, the ones who are like, telling you the basic same stuff over and over again. And they tell you how much you're going to make, which is always like really suspicious to me. And like what your sales will be and what your growth will be, as if they know your company. I knew at a point when my organic traffic was really there and I was like, okay, I've got a thing, I've got the inventory, I know generally what I'm doing. I knew that I needed to like scale things and I needed to like grow and I needed guidance to do that. And so when I found For Good Profits, and I also interviewed like 12 other, it was ridiculous. I think my list was ultimately 14. They were like non-traditional type of agencies, nothing comparable to what you guys are doing. I think I've had complexes about like numbers, generally speaking. Like I am like a words person, and numbers and budgets and like the financial side of business has always been like not my like strongest suit, but actually like I have realized very recently that I'm actually like really good at math, and like I'm very naturally good at these things, but from somehow I was indoctrinated as a youth that like that wasn't my strong suit. And I just assumed my entire adult life that it wasn't. And now that I have to do it all the time and I'm actually pretty good at it, I've conquered that. But I would say that that's like the biggest sore spot I had was like, oh, I don't know if I can wrap my head around all of the different pieces of the business to determine if it's profitable. The first exposure I had to the material, the content, was the like the increasing those 3 points by 30%. I forget what the 3 points are now.
3 multipliers.
The 3 multipliers. And I remember like going in and like doing a bunch of research and being like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and kind of looking at my own numbers. And that was the first data approach too. Everyone else was like, you just launched the ads and like it's great. And I'm like, I don't think that's how it works. But so that all of those things were different. And I took a risk, but I felt like I had done a lot of due diligence. I know a lot of people have talked about like, oh, I had a lot of the things set up. I did not. Like, I didn't have flow set up. I didn't have campaigns set up. I was virtually doing no email. There were a lot, for me, it was all like a lot of actual action, like execution, in addition to learning. So, but I kind of cranked through it, and I loved the way that it started, which was like the personal reflection and like the who are you and the thing and like why are you doing this kind of thing, because I think that's the difference between like a successful business and not, is like the person who's running it and like what they bring to the table, and if they have the intestinal fortitude to like see it through. Because I think it's so complicated and it's so hard and it's so challenging that it's easy to just get like totally put off by it and be like, oh, I'm just going to go work for somebody else and get us to take home a salary. I didn't do like any social media during that time. I just put everything down, because who cares? Like, not my it was nothing was as important as this process. And so yeah, I mean, I really liked it immediately from the start to the end. It was super clear. And one thing I've been recruiting for you guys. Like, I have a few people who have signed up with you since I like spend time on calls with people talking about it. But what I say is like, you don't have to have a marketing background. And just because I did, like, it was still all very nuanced to me, and it was very straightforward, to the point that if you were like a 20-year-old or like a 70-year-old, like you could do it. It was very clear. It didn't assume knowledge, which is really nice. And it wasn't like super jargony. And the simplicity of like how it was broken down. I know there's so much more to it, but just allowing us to start where you guys let us start, and then we can build on it, is so helpful. Because a lot of the things out there are they're just trying to do everything at once, and they're trying to have you like, it's just too much. And so simplifying it is really refreshing. And I felt, and I also feel like Daryl is like very he's so personable, and he's so enjoyable to like listen to. Like, there's a lot of Australian accents that are like not they're like, not, you don't want to be listening to them for 50 hours a week. And so he has a very like sweet way, and like he's very, it's very approachable. I've only had 2 losing days in my time running ads. So it was like very motivating. It was like a very motivating experience, because I would say like, I would think like, oh my gosh, I just did what I would do at a day in sales in festivals, except I'm on my couch at home chilling or going on a hike or something. And so that it was it's been very motivating the whole time. People really sincerely care and are really supportive of each other and really willing to share information. And so the actual within like the actual community forum is really helpful too. Even if you're not like naturally interested in it, or you think like you can't do it, once you start to get into it and you realize it is the key to the success of your e-commerce business, you will be interested in it, and you'll also really grow to like it. But knowing how to do things yourself is the only way to grow the business. because no one cares about the business like you do. No one cares about your business like you do. No one cares about sales like you do, because at the end of the day, it's like your livelihood. And so having the ability to learn everything that this course provides gives you all of the tools that you would ever need to like run your own business and to do it in a way that like you can scale it exponentially. And yeah, my dogs. And so it's in a very unique way as well. So in a way that is very different from anything else that you're going to get online or from YouTube. And it's worth like every penny. And you have it for life. Like you have the knowledge for life. You also have access to all the course information and the Notion and everything, but you have the knowledge for life and you can always improve on it and tweak it. But a lot of these agencies just want to, they'll say that they'll like do it with you, but they're doing it for you because they want you to be a hostage for the rest of your life. And they want to take $5,000 from you every month, no matter what your sales are. And a lot of them actually have no idea what they're doing. They're YouTubing things and like they're hiring junior people to disseminate information that they don't understand. And so you're putting a lot of money and trust in people who oftentimes know as much as you do, maybe a little bit more, but they don't have your best interest at heart. Whereas like this community that For Good Profits has built is only as strong as like the successful people in it. So you all have a motive for this, for all of our businesses to work, not just because you're benevolent people, but because like if you had an entire community of people whose businesses were flailing, it would not be a strong community. Exactly. No one would learn anything from each other. And also it's constant invalidation when everyone starts saying like, hey, by the way, is this working for anyone? Whereas all these agencies, nobody talks to each other. That's why when I was asking for references from agencies, they were really uncomfortable. And it's because if you put a bunch of people together, the truth will come out. And I think the truth is very obvious in this course. At the end of August, we calculated kind of like what I could be paying myself and like what the business was projected to do in sales this year. And I was like, I took like a week of not really doing anything except for like kind of basking. I really wanted to soak in the feeling like you did it. Like you did the thing you said you wanted to do, and you did it in a way that was like really patient. Yeah. So I definitely remember those week or so of just basking. And I'm still kind of doing it. It's getting better because I realize this is still like the baseline, like this is still, I don't have that many products, and like I'm launching a couple of new products. I'm never going to have too many of them, but I'm realizing like this is kind of the entry point for everything. The cumulative knowledge that the community and also the staff has is like there's nothing like it. I think it's also just not to overlook the power of like talking to a bunch of other e-commerce businesses who are dealing with the exact same things as you, and like using each other as like information tools and like a knowledge, a resource hub. I really just don't think there's anything else like that. And like I said, I've been in marketing for like 13 years, and I've dealt with a lot of different entities and agencies and consultants, and they do not have your best interest at heart. It's unfortunate, but true. So I think it's also just proof that like, I think anyone can do this. It opens up a lot of opportunities and also just relieves a lot of stressors. I mean, money is the number one stress everyone has. It means that the business has really healthy cash flow. I've self-funded the whole thing. I don't have investors or anything. I don't have any loans. I don't have any like lines of credit or anything. So it's the cash flow is really good. And it means that I can purchase like a really large production order in the next couple of months, which I'm going to have to do because I'm basically sold out of everything on my website right now. And also gives me time to like start to strategize more and not just consider like the survival of the business. So I'm actually like, everyone is like Black Friday, like savage mode. And I'm actually going to kind of like chill over the holidays because I don't have much product. My team can't make anymore this year. And I'm using it as like a downtime to like re-strategize. I'm doing a bunch of design work on the products and like improving them. And so it gives me that ability to like take a step back and like make it even better in a strategic way. Not trying to like drive the car and fly the plane at the same time, because that's like really hard to do. It's still just me and my production team. The difference between this program and pretty much anything you're going to get from a marketing agency or a consultant or something like that is like, you can teach yourself to fish, and you can fish until your heart is delight, and like you can own the keys to your own castle.